fans, this is Chris Bolts coming in with another video, and this one's going to be talking about the current state of dubbing in anime. Now, back when I first started watching anime with Fist of the North Star all the way back in the late 80s, early 90s, I fell in love with that, and I remember the voice of James Avery voicing one of the villains inside of that anime. Now, if you guys don't know who James Avery is Uncle Phil. And if you guys know anything about Uncle Phil, he is from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He was quite possibly one of the best fathers that was on television. I really loved Uncle Phil. I really love that character. Really loved what he meant to Will Smith. And so that entire cast, rest in peace, James Avery. You have also had a very rich, profound voice. That's what made me fall in love with anime, was this particular actor and his performance in that anime. Never mind the fact that we also get to see Kenshiro go around and just blowing the shit up out of people with just his fist. That also played a part as well. I won't lie. And I had no problem with English dubbing. For the longest time, I would only watch the English dub of Dragon Ball Z. I compared to the Dragon Ball Japanese anime back in the day. I thought those voices were a little better, until one particular scene from one stupid anime several years ago. And that anime is High School of the Dead. Now, when I was watching this, I was like, hey, it's fine. Until one certain scene just appeared out of nowhere and just threw everything for a loop. Let me go ahead and play that scene for you.
Hello. I just knew it! So she lives here with a friend of hers, isn't that right? Who is she? Sarah fucking Palin?
Now, there you go. Now, what reason is there to go in there and insert American politics like that inside of an anime? This was back during the height of the Obama era, back in 2008, when John McCain decided to choose Sarah Palin as his running mate, and all the country, especially the left wing of the country, decided to go after this woman and treat her as if she was persona non grata, simply because John McCain decided to choose her as a running mate and go up against Barack Obama. Now, that's neither here nor there. That really pissed me off to no end. And after that, I said, something? I am only going to watch Japanese dubs with English subtitles, because I don't want any part of that or anything like that. And you're probably wondering why. Where are you going with all of this, Chris Bolts? Where are you going with all of this? Well, what I'm bringing this up for is because Netflix is at it again. We got this anime right here called Blue Box. And it's a popular anime. I haven't watched it or anything like that. There's so many out there that I just haven't had time to go in there and watch this particular anime. But a lot of people really love this anime. It's a slice of life anime where a girl runs into a boy. They move in together. He's a basketball player. She's a badminton player. And antics ensue. And so I'm over here looking at this article from Bounding into Comics. Netflix Localizers rewrite Blue Box. English script sees character complimented for being feminist instead of feminine. And those are two very different things. Being feminine, everybody likes being feminine. But when you say feminist, nobody wants to deal with an angry woman who's running around thinking she knows everything and thinking that she's all that, and thinking that she's the most important in the room. And so Netflix decided to go ahead and make some adjustments on that. This article is courtesy of Nerdigiz, once again from Bounding into Comics. And I'll, after that entire rant, make sure you do like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. Let's go ahead and continue right here. And so in the first paragraph right here, it says, in the latest case of English language localizers overriding a Japanese creator's original creative vision, Netflix's in-house team has edited a bit of dialogue in Blue Box to have someone who was originally complimented for having a feminine perspective instead receive praise for being a feminist, which, again, that is not a distinction without a difference. There is a difference between being having a feminine outlook on things and being a complete and total feminist. And so this is a situation where the localizers once again decide that they want to inject left-wing political ideologies and agendas into things where they don't belong. And so the anime, or the article rather, gives an entire in-depth analysis of the anime, which again, I haven't watched or anything, but if you want to go ahead and watch it, it is over on Netflix. It's got 25 episodes so far. But we go down right here, and there's a particular episode which is called Unfair Woman. And within that, they prepare for their school's cultural festival, which a lot of anime love to do. They love to have their cultural festivals and whatnot. I think it's called a Bunkamatsu or something like that. And so she's this character right here. She's struggling to rehearse her lines, and the person that she has the crush on, her the love interest, steps in to help her because he's been hearing her repeat these lines over and over and over and over and over, and he got it to such a point where he's memorized all the lines there. And you see that right here in the particular panel of these characters as they're talking here, right here. And he says something and this is the statement that he says right here: the heroine being struck by misfortune and hardship that I can sympathize with, but I can't abide by her just up and marrying some random prince. And so the female protagonist, looks at her and says, you know what? That's a surprisingly feminine perspective, which it is. We don't want our daughters and our female friends to just get up and go and marry someone simply because of who they are, because of what status they have. That's a very feminine perspective to have. He's showing some empathy to the position in which this female character that the protagonist is trying to portray in this play. He's showing empathy towards that position, but that gets completely undone by what Netflix does right here. It says, instead the character now observes, that's very feminist. No, that is not very feminist. It is not very feminist to have a care about or to show empathy to a woman's perspective. I mean, that's like sitting there saying that if you show empathy to a woman, that automatically makes you feminist. No. Being a feminist, you are definitely on the left wing of the aisle. I know there's some conservatives that try to say that they're feminists, but no, they're not really. You're pushing all these female agendas and everything like that because you believe that the woman is the center of everything. Now that's kind of funny considering that nowadays a lot of these same quote unquote feminists will defend a disgusting man who thinks he's a woman and defend that and say that, oh well, yeah, if he calls himself a woman, then he's a woman. It's nonsensical. It's misogynistic and nonsensical. But I digress on that point. And you got to hear in the parenthetical the author has, while the English subtitles for the Japanese track were originally consistent with the manga, it appears that they have since been updated as they now bear the feminist rewrite. And right here. So here was what it was originally. It was originally aligned to say a feminine perspective as it was in the manga. But instead, these localizers took it upon themselves to say, you know something? We know better than the mangaka. We're gonna put our own twist on that, and we're gonna interpret this our way, and we're gonna say that it says that's very feminist, and it doesn't even work for the scene either. I mean, does a guy when you look at this particular scene, you don't sit here and see, well, the guy is coming off as more haughty and pompous, which frankly a lot of these feminists come off as, especially the male feminists. The male feminists, which is an oxymoron in my view, they come off as more pompous. He doesn't look pompous. He looks solemn. He looks lamentable because he realizes that compliment that he's making kind of is putting him in a completely different light with the character. So yeah, this has always been a problem with English localizers for whatever reason, whether it's in movies or anime or television or in video games. They want to go in there and they want to put in their own political perspective as opposed to just translating the stuff as it should be translated from the original work of art. And of course, this article goes on to further to state that Netflix is notorious for this, because apparently it looks like they did made some changes to other anime and even Godzilla Minus One. So Tiger and Bunny, which I watched the first season, I tried watching the second season, and I'm thinking, I don't know why I actually like the anime, because I thought the first season was great. The first season aired over on Crunchyroll, but I think Netflix came over and took over the series, and they Tiger Bunny season 2. I started off to watch the first couple of episodes, and I just said, nah, I don't think it's for me or anything like that. But you see by the headline right here, this guy right here, Golden Ryan, who's criticized outdated gender norms and declares himself a feminist. Do you think the Japanese care about any of that dumb bullshit? You know, it's just wonky. And then over here, which by the way, I knew was going to be a big problem the minute this was going to be localized for or be turned into a live action with One Piece. They decided, the Netflix localizer decided to go ahead and rename the island that Emperor Ivankov is in charge of from New Comma to New Trans. And they're trying to compare these, because on that island, if you guys don't know anything about One Piece, there is an island where there's nothing but men on there, and the men credit to Eiichiro Oda, they do dress up in drag. They're kind of flamboyant. Sanji doesn't like any of that. He wants to get off that island as quickly as possible, but that's where he goes to train. It's kind of a juxtaposition that Eiichiro Oda. This also shows why he's a really great writer, because that juxtaposition is really great. You got this handsome, straight young man who loves women on this island with these confused guys that think they're women, and so they go in there and rename it New Trans. By the way, his power allows him to change. I think he has a different kind of power. Ivankov, I think he has a different type of power, but they take some type of drug which allows them to, well, actually there's another guy on the island who has the power to change the guys from male to female at his whim, and it's all kinds of weird and everything like that. But I knew that the minute that Netflix was going to get their hands on this, they were going to start playing left-wing social agenda LGBT bullshit with this particular arc. And you know, frankly, if they stay faithful to the comics, to the manga, no problem. But if they start injecting all that LGBT nonsense into this, then yes, we're going to have a problem there and everything like that. But yeah, so that overall, that's my issue when it comes to English localization. I don't particularly care for it anymore. I only will watch the Japanese dub with the English subtitles. And as you can see, even the English subtitles, depending upon where you watch your stuff, it's not even safe, because there has been some, even on Crunchyroll, there have been some times where Crunchyroll had went in there and updated they had changed the writing from the manga to fit some type of left-wing nonsense. Let me see here. So this is me post-edit, and I finally found that article right here, and it's at the same place, Bounding in the Comics. Former Funimation scriptwriter Jamie Marchi doubles down on her infamous anti-patriarchy localization of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Quote, "This is what happens when a script is dubbed into a different language." So you see how disrespectful these localizers act when they want to go in there and do things to the original source material, because they're not good creators themselves, and they have to try to insert all their left-wing nonsense into whatever they have to deal with. Anime, just translate it exactly as it sounds in the original work and keep the politics out of it, whether it's conservative or leftist. Just keep the politics out of it and just translate it so that everyone can continue to enjoy the work. But those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts on English localization? Do you guys find it to be an issue? Is that the only way you guys really watch any type of foreign type of work? Or are you like me, where you watch it in the original language with subtitles? Jump down in the comments and let me know. And remember to like, share, subscribe, turn on all those post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. And remember, this is Chris Boltz signing off, and I will catch you in the next video. You guys take it easy.